Hello, this is Alert Day Trading. The purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on good behaviors. If you can learn from any of my mistakes, any of my good habits, then that's definitely a bonus. So today, what I'm focusing on is continuing my statistical analysis of a strategy that I'm working on. And that strategy is to find stocks that are hitting their all-time highs. So I have this scanner here. It's got the new... So I have this scanner here. It's got the new yearly highs. And I pretty much just kind of go down the list. And I came across CARV. And you can see on the weekly chart that we are breaking all-time highs and very little resistance. Now, I ended up getting a little bit lucky just because I usually have this chart as a max chart. And so when I first saw the chart, I thought this was the max chart and we had no resistance. But then I ended up noticing it was just a 3-year chart. So then when you zoom out to the max chart, we're still breaking above all-time highs, so it ended up working out. But the chart isn't as nice of an uptrend as I would prefer. You can see we have these big spikes, but then big drawdowns, big spikes. So this isn't necessarily a chart I would prefer to trade. I would probably just be extra careful whether I want to trade it or not. Be really strict with my risk management rules. So if we zoom in back to the weekly chart, you'll see it's looking nice. And then the daily chart also looking nice. And so this red line here is the all-time high. And the first entry I took was with a 1-minute time frame. So you can see here we're breaking above this big red line. This is the all-time high. And so we're breaking above that, and we're waiting for a pullback. And you can see we have 2 red candles. Now looking back, I might have been a little bit too aggressive, just because the pullback was a little bit too big. But I took the entry anyway above. My 1-minute entry was 1750. So that ended up being at the break above this candle right here, as we were making smaller, lower highs. But this low was holding, so this was my stop loss. So I took the trade anyway, just because my strategy is to take a trade after the pullback of the most recent break of the all-time high. So anyway, I took that trade, and you can see my stop loss held. You can see it kind of tested it over here. It almost got triggered. And then we ended up getting this push all the way up to almost $23. So that's about $5.40 move. So originally I was risking about $2.40. So you can see here 1750s to 1520s. So it was about $2.30 to 40 cents. And then we ended up getting about $5.50 40-cent move. So that's about a risk to reward of 1 to 2. And my second entry ended up being in the 3-minute time frame. So you can see here's the break above the high, here's the pullback, and the entry was at 17 75, so above this candle right here, and that was a better entry. You can see we had the nice push up, also about a risk to reward of 1 to 2, a little bit over 1 to 2, so about 2.3 was the potential. And I did sell and take profits as we pushed higher. And then my last entry, which also ended up being a winner, was right here. This was probably the best entry just because the entry is above the all-time high. And you can see we're starting to push up above this $20 mark again. So right now, if we push above $23, that's where I'll probably be interested in coming in. But anyway, you can see this entry was probably better than the other two just because even though it's at a higher price, I feel like the probability is more in your favor because the entry would then be above the all-time high. So I'm focused on being pickier and pickier in my entries, and I could possibly add to my criteria that the entry has to be above the all-time high. That even though the pullback comes below this red line, which would have been the original level of resistance, that the entry, the break above, must still be above the all-time high. Because if you look here at the 3-minute, the pullback, well, in this case, yeah, still the pullback went below, and then here it closed below the all-time high. So it's still really close. So you can almost argue that maybe just put if it does break above here, you should still maybe have the entry above the all-time high. Something like that. That's something that I'll have to think about. And here's the 1-minute entry. Same thing here. So if you find that these candles are closing below, maybe just have the entry right above the all-time high level with your stop loss. So you're just managing your risk. So you'll end up with a smaller position, but you're also going to have less entries that end up failing, I think. So that's something I'll probably want to test out. So I'll have to have a different kind of set of statistics that are showing me when I entry below the all-time high versus entering above the all-time high. What are the statistics that it works out or not? So that is my trade for CARV, and I'm very happy with my trade performance. I did take one other trade on FMCI because it was making new highs. And my entry was at, let's see exactly. So I used the 5-minute chart. And there you can see we had a break above this. This is the all-time high. We broke above it. The better entry would have been right here on the 1 and the 3-minute chart. I remember looking at that, and I just wasn't into the stock. So the 1 minute actually did not work out. So you can see there's your first red candle, but the 3-minute did. And so here's the break. There's the break right there, this red line. And you can see we pulled back and held pretty much around it. And here's the break above. So if you took this trade, probably want to stop loss right here, 1850, with a break above 19. So that's about 50 cents that you're risking. And we ended up going all the way up to $20. So that's a risk to reward of 1 to 2. So that worked out perfectly for anyone that took that trade. I just was not paying attention to this stock. I was focused on CARV. But then I did end up taking the trade. I noticed right here we broke above this new high. And then, so then I waited for a pullback, and I bought at the break above this red candle, but you can see it didn't work out. We ended up making a lower high, and then ended up breaking below these candles. I ended up getting stopped out right here. No big deal. The volume just wasn't there. The only thing I can think that would be my mistake is that the previous high, the most recent high, had less volume than the high before that. So that's a good indicator, or a negative indicator, but a good indicator to tell you that maybe you should not enter the stock. So that's probably my mistake there. If we go back to CARV, you'll see that this high, well, this was the most recent high, obviously having more volume, and then you can see the second high having a little bit less volume, and then there you go, a little bit of an indicator that we're not going to have a continuation. But now you can see volumes picking back up. So I'm probably going to, of course, wait to see this break above 23, and then possibly wait for the pullback. But we'll see. So anyway, that's my trade journal for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Just to remind you, the purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades. Notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on good behaviors. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you can learn from any of my mistakes, any of my good behaviors, that's definitely a bonus. All right, good luck.